You'll never guess who's awake.
You're shitting me.
Come see for yourself.
How long has it been?
Years. I stopped keeping track a while ago.
Can't believe it's been that long.
Time flies when you're watching someone breathe through a tube.
How's the family?
My wife's cheating on me with an Altar exec, and my daughter sits in her room listening to Aisha albums all day.
Oh, for a dead woman, she sure releases a lot of records.
No shit.
God, that was a hell of a year. Alderman Hughes, Mayor Winslow, Aisha, Chief Monroe.
All murdered by that asshole who's been sitting in intensive care on taxpayers' money.
Billy said he wouldn't pull the plug.
Lord knows why.
Anyone call the chief?
Couldn't get through. The press has been mobbing him with phone calls.
Oh, about the...
Yep.
I forgot that was today.
You should pay more attention.
Fuck off. How's the patient?
Seeing as they're still breathing after being caught in a massive explosion, I'd say pretty good.
Coming through!
What happened?
Shanking.
Put him over there. Sorry about that.
Have they said anything yet?
Not yet, but I'm about to take the bandages off.
Welcome back to the channel, folks. In my video on the first Saints Row, go watch that by the way, I mentioned that I'm a fairly new Saints Row fan. Having only gotten into the series a few years back when the pandemic first hit, I had played each of the games to some degree when I made that video, minus the original and the reboot. However, while I played Saints Row 2, I hadn't actually completed it yet. I was maybe halfway through it before my ADHD brain caused me to jump over to some other game in my Steam library. Probably Yakuza 0, or The Witcher 3, which I also haven't finished. But hopefully I will before Joseph Anderson releases his 12-hour retrospective on it. So what better excuse than now to return and complete what some fans consider the absolute best Saints Row game. Before diving in, be sure to leave a like and comment on the video, and sub if you're new to the channel. It really helps me a lot. Now before we journey into Saints Row 2, let's quickly recap the ending of the first game. After your playable character assists in the takedown of the other 3 major gangs in Stillwater, he's made second in command of the Saints by their leader, Julius. Julius would get picked up by the cops and go missing while the player was forced to briefly work for the police chief and then the mayor. Heading to meet the mayor on his yacht, the player, along with everyone on board, comes down with a nasty case of getting blown up, ending the game on a cliffhanger and leaving us with a lot of questions. Like if Julius, seemingly, was the one responsible for the bomb, and if so, why? What the disbanded members of the gangs we took down would do after their organizations were toppled? What's up with Troy? And if he was really a cop the whole time? And what happened to the remaining Saints members now that their leader is missing, and their second in command is seemingly dead? Would the sequel answer these questions in a satisfying manner? I won't get into it just yet, but I'll circle back around to some of these questions later. One I can answer though, is yes, your playable character did survive the explosion. It just took a 5-year coma and a shitload of surgery to put them back together again. Now let's segue into what's new in Saints Row 2. Starting off with your character. You're given way more customization options for them, with the option of playing as a female this time around, which is what I decided to do for this playthrough, because as the old saying goes, if I'm going to stare at an ass all day, might as well be a nice one. I did accidentally make certain cutscenes awkward due to choices in clothing, but we'll cross those bridges when we get to them. The other big thing about your character, other than the big set of tits you can give them, is they can speak now. In the first game, they were basically mute for 99.9% of it, having only 4 lines total and only speaking those lines towards the end of the game. But here, they're talking from the moment you start the game with a choice of 3 male and 3 female voices. I went with female voice 1. Something about her performance finds the right balance of badass and alluring.
Fuck you say?
It seemed like the logical move for your character, as while being mute worked well in the first game, when you're basically a grunt going along with Julius's and the veteran Saints' plans, here you're the one making all the moves and giving out the orders, as you've graduated from being the player to the boss of the new generation of Saints. You're back in Stillwater for this game, but it's received quite the facelift in the past 5 years. For one, the old rundown and crime-ridden Saints Row has been demolished and completely gentrified. On top of old areas being updated and changed, there's a lot of new areas added into the game as well. Some of them underneath the map and others hidden away as secret areas to discover. To accommodate this, you have a new assortment of vehicles to explore the map with, including motorcycles and helicopters. and man does it feel good to be able to fly around Stillwater. I brought this up in the previous video, but it felt like such a letdown you couldn't fly around and explore. Though the flying controls in this game could be a bit sensitive at times. With the updated version of the city, we have a host of new things we can do. First is that we can buy safe houses. In the first game, you couldn't buy new safe houses and only unlocked more after completely defeating a gang and taking over their main HQ. Safe houses will let you store your cars, with some coming equipped with a helipad for any helicopters you get your hands on. Like the first game, you can come here to pick up any money you've made from your owned hoods, access your weapons cache, and change out your clothes. But you can customize the look of your safe house for some extra style. And in the main Saints headquarters, you can customize the look of your homies and the cars they drive around in. You can replay missions here and even play a fun little zombie killing minigame. Next are the side activities. In the first game, there were side content you would do to raise your character's respect, as well as earning cash and receiving some unlockables. Despite the side activities being fun for the most part, I was still critical of them, as it felt like I spent more time grinding up reputation than doing actual story missions. Thankfully, they reworked side missions and the reputation system in general, as while you still do have to raise up your reputation to do missions, it doesn't take anywhere near as long. Helped in big part due to the introduction of style rankings. Buying clothes, vehicles, music, or customizing your crib will increase your style ranking, which gives you a percentage increase in respect earned at the end of each mission. The first game had something similar, but it worked as a modifier that would give you more or less respect based on what you were wearing. So you were locked into wearing more expensive clothes if you wanted the best respect payout. But here, it's a permanent percentage increase regardless of what you're wearing. So it lets the player customize themselves however they want without being penalized for it. The other part of it is how the side activities were reworked, their levels being shrunk from 8 to 6. Their difficulties vary, but I'd say almost all of them feel much easier to complete. You also unlock rewards for completing them faster, as usually after you do 3 levels in a given side activity, you can unlock new things like new weapons, vehicles, discounted stores, and decreases in gang hostility. And the reward for completing a given activity tends to be really busted too, unlocking things like infinite ammo for a given weapon type. Ammo was another issue I had in the first game, as it was really hard to come by unless you were using the same weapon as your enemies, or kept dropping and picking up guns. Made worse as the only place to reliably top off your guns, friendly fire, was only open during the day, forcing you to wait several in-game hours before you could buy ammo. Thankfully, that's no longer the case, as all stores are now open 24/7. Now, the side activities in this game are a mix of some old and new ones. Returning from the first game, we got escort, snatch, drug trafficking, insurance fraud, mayhem, racing, demolition derby, chop shop, and hitman. The older side activities have been reworked somewhat, with insurance fraud for instance, increasing the area where you need to get hurt, giving you a smaller area within where you can make more money, and activate an adrenaline meter that slows down time and makes it easier to string combos. Demolition derby went from having to smash a certain amount of cars per level to generating a set amount of cash each level, adding some customization options that let you choose the car you use, its offense, defense, and speed. The best improvement is easily Hitman. In the first game, it was the worst side activity, as it took the longest to complete and your targets would randomly appear on the map. Here, there are much simpler ways to find them or get them to spawn, with the target description spelling it out for you. Hopping over to the new side activities, first we got Fuzz, Stillwater's take on the show Cops, as you'll dress up as an officer of the law and drive around to carry out justice for a reality TV show, which involves some good old American police brutality. Next we got Septic Avenger, where you'll drive around in a septic truck and cover buildings and people and shit, in order to lower property values, or something. Then there's Trailblazing. You ever think regular old racing was just too boring? Well, what if you lit yourself on fire and blew up everything in your way instead? Well, that's basically the idea behind Trailblazing, as you drive through markers and try to reach a high score within a time limit. Next is Fight Club. The first rule is, we don't talk about it. The second rule is, we don't talk about it. Seeing as I already broke those 2 rules though, you get in a ring and beat other guys up, using a finisher on them to end the match. This one feels a bit clunky, mainly as you're fighting several opponents at once, all of whom will gang up on you. So best to run around, getting your hits, and then pick them off one by one. Then we got Crowd Control, where you have to protect a celebrity from crazed fans by beating them up and throwing them into things to get killed. Probably my least favorite of the new side activities, mainly because it feels too repetitive and boring. And finally, Hella Assault, where you'll protect one of your homies by air as they drive around and make drug deals. Probably the most annoying because of the helicopter's controls and how fast you have to act in later levels. And on top of side activities, we have diversions. Diversions work differently in that they aren't marked off on the map and are even more optional than the side activities, as the majority of them aren't necessary to complete for 100% completion. Some will reward cash or a bit of respect, but otherwise exist as a fun distraction. For example, you can run around, hold people up and mug them for money. You can work as a taxi or a tow truck driver, hit up the strip club and treat someone to a good time in the VIP room. Or you can go fully naked and run around streaking for fun. You also got more traditional stuff like completing stunt jumps, graffiti tagging, or discovering secret areas on the map. Needless to say, this game is absolutely packed with things to do, so you never really get bored. And to add on to all that, you can even play the entire game in co-op with a friend. How 343 Studios couldn't figure that out for Halo Infinite when Volition got it done in 2008 on the 360 is beyond me. As far as I can tell, the driving in the game has remained the same, which is fine with me. I always found it perfect. Much better than the driving in GTA 4. But they did update the shooting, as now you can zoom to a behind-the-shoulder camera that will make hitting targets a lot easier at the cost of slowing your character down while zoomed in. Now before I get into the story and the main bulk of the video, I just want to point out that I'm playing the 360 version of the game on Xbox Series X, mainly for two reasons. One, to justify the cost of purchasing a Series X in the first place, but also because the PC version is a bit of a mixed bag. The original release on PC was an absolute mess, and probably one of the worst porting jobs of the time, to the point of being almost unplayable for the longest time. That was until the release of the Gentleman of the Row fan patch made by Mike Watson. It's a massive overhaul mod that fixes up the game to a playable state, along with adding tons of new customization options and new content. It completely flipped the opinion of the PC port, and I even used it myself the first time I played the game. While I debated just doing that again this time, there were still some bugs and glitches I encountered, and I figured I'd save the PC mod for when I feel like playing the game again. With all of that out of the way, let's dive into the story and return to Stillwater.
Yes. That looks like it healed nicely.
Be careful, Doctor. Your patient's dangerous.
You got anything you want to say to the judge, you better start thinking of it now.
You're wasting your time. Let's get a hold of Troy.
Hey, is it really you?
Do I know you?
My brother was in the Saints and he told me all about you. Listen, we gotta get you out of here.
Well, I'm sure if we ask nicely.
I know a way out.
Yeah? Then why are you still here?
I heard you were in here and I wanted to bust you out.
After you've customized the boss and they wake up from their coma, we're introduced to Carlos, the younger brother of one of the Saints. He fills us in that we're in a heavily guarded prison hospital, that more time has passed than we realized, and more importantly, that Carlos is our only ticket out, as the Saints won't be able to assist. With no other options, we agree to work with him to break out of jail. You'll have the choice of either sneaking out from the roof or go guns blazing through the front door. The roof serving as a tutorial for new and out-of-practice players. After escaping through the roof, fighting through the cops, and making it to the docks, we'll steal a boat and head for the mainland, and fight off anyone chasing us. And Christ, does my frame rate get nuked during this scene. If I remember right, this segment here would bug and crash on the PC version when I first played it. After escaping, we get a glimpse of the new Stillwater.
That's the road?
It is now.
Jesus, when did this happen?
When Ulter got involved.
The clothing company.
After Hughes was killed in that bombing of yours, Ulter picked up the pieces. Now they're everywhere. On TV, on billboards, in stores. Hell, if you ever forget who Ulter is, just look towards Saints Row and you'll see that fucking eyesore.
The Megacorp Ultor taking over and gentrifying the city is the least of our problems, as Carlos fills us in that the Saints basically collapsed after Julius disappeared and the boss seemingly died. Once some new gangs became active in town, the Saints who weren't killed or arrested dropped their colors and scattered. With the cops on the lookout for us and no one to turn to, Carlos suggests we lie low for now and gather as much info as we can. After a change of clothes, we hit up the local strip club and find out some interesting info about our old pal, Johnny Gat. He's currently on death row after a botched assassination attempt on a decorated police officer, aka Troy, along with about 300 murder charges they pinned on him. With his trial about to conclude and a 100% chance of Johnny getting a lethal injection, we need to race to the courthouse and save his ass.
Mr. Gat, you've been convicted of over 300 murders. Do you really expect this appeal to work?
I figure with the statute of limitations, it really should be closer to 250.
There's no statute of limitations for murder.
Why the fuck not?
Watch yourself, Mr. Gat.
Or what? You'll hold me in contempt of court? You're already planning on giving me the chair. You think I'd give a shit about you not liking me? Fuck off.
I'm curious if you can keep your cavalier attitude when 2,000 volts are running through your body.
Oh yeah? And I'm curious if you can keep acting like a douchebag when I shove that gavel up your ass.
My client would like that stricken from the record.
What's that?
Drop it.
Anyone hit and need a lawyer?
Shit. About time your burnt ass woke up.
You okay, Johnny?
Yeah, aside from almost getting sent to the chair, I'm fucking great. Hey, you look different. You do something with your hair?
You ready to get out of here?
After reuniting with our buddy, we shoot our way out of the courthouse and steal a car to get out of there. On the way to the local Forgive and Forget, he fills us in on the happenings while we were out of commission. For one, he's still with Aisha. He confirms that Troy was an undercover cop and is now chief of police, and despite the murder attempt on him, he protected Johnny in jail, as all the beatings he got from the guards stopped once Troy became chief. On top of all that, Julius is still missing, Benjamin King, former leader of the Vice Kings, decided to write a biography, and Dex, well, Dex is somewhere. While there's still more to learn, the boss decides that maybe they'll pay Troy a visit soon. Remember this for later. After clearing our wanted level, we head back to Johnny's place and are reintroduced to Aisha.
Johnny, I don't care if you just broke out of jail. You do not mess with my furniture. Oh my God, it's you.
Surprised, Aisha?
What, that you're here or that you're talking?
Pick one.
We all thought you were dead.
I almost was.
Well, for someone who was blown to hell, you look great. Did you do something with your hair?
Since we faked her death back in the first game, Aisha has had to lie low. Though considering the Vice Kings are gone now, seems kinda pointless. Then again, as the girlfriend of the infamous Johnny Gat, she probably lies low so as to avoid getting caught in the crossfire by anyone going after her boyfriend. Once everyone's caught up, the boss wants to get the Saints back together and work towards reclaiming the city. But since the old cathedral and Saints Row were paved over and gentrified, they'll need a new headquarters. Johnny knows just the place, an old hotel located under an abandoned mission chapel. After clearing out the Sons of Samedi and the local homeless population, we claim the place is our own. Now that we got ourselves a new clubhouse, it's time to rebuild the Saints. Since everyone is either dead or busted by Troy, we're going to have to start fresh with some new recruits. The boss picks Carlos as an obvious choice after their jailbreak, while Johnny suggests some people he met in jail. Driving around, we'll first meet Pierce, who will join up after we kill some members of the rival gang, the Ronins. Next we got Carlos, who will join up after we help him do some towing. And finally Samedi, who will join up after we show her our 6 stunt jumping skills. Returning to our new hideout, we meet up with everyone before giving a passionate speech and plan for retaking the city.
Alright, everybody, listen up. We got some serious shit to discuss. The Saints used to own Stillwater. It seems like the only motherfuckers that remember that is me and Gat. I think it's time we give those other crews a wake-up call. Shit. Now, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of shit's changed since I've been out of the game. So I'm gonna need some help. Pierce, you're on the Ronin. I wanna know who's calling the shots and what businesses they running.
Done.
Shaundi, you got the Sons of Samedi.
It's gotta be them.
Fuck you say?
It's cool. I got this.
Carlos.
The Brotherhood, I'm on it.
Like the first game, this is where we go into the different storylines to take down the 3 gangs. There's Team Green, or the Sons of Samedi, voodoo practicing drug dealers who Shandy will be in charge of, Team Gold, or the Ronin, motorcycle riding, katana wielding Yakuza, who Pierce will be in charge of, and finally Team Red, or the Brotherhood, tattoo covered, heavy metal listening, monster truck driving punks who Carlos will be in charge of. Like I did in the video for the first game, I'll be going through each storyline individually as opposed to the mission order I played the game through. So let's start off with the Sons of Samedi and our new pot-smoking gal pal, Shandy.
Hey, I got you a present.
A light bulb. Just what I always wanted.
Come on, you think I'd just give you a light bulb?
A face shredder. Just what I always wanted.
Smoke this.
Ever hear of a pipe?
Pipes cost money. Money that can be used for drugs or shoes.
What is it?
It's the Sons of Samedi's #1 product. They call it Loa Dust.
If Shandy here sounds familiar, that's because she's voiced by Eliza Dushku, who you might recognize as Faith from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Danielle in The New Guy, underrated movie in my opinion, or Yeesh, Ruby in the game Wet. Maybe I'll take a look at that mess one day. Shandy is easily the most chilled and relaxed of the new Saints, as she tends to keep a level head, is pretty good at finding out info, and despite the stereotype you'd expect, isn't high all the time when you see her. Just sometimes. The overall plan when it comes to taking down the Sons of Samedi will be to destroy and take over their drug operation. First step in that plan is to get some samples of their popular drug, Loa Dust. Heading to the university, we'll drive around killing members of the Sons of Samedi, along with one of their best dealers, in order to collect enough of the dust. Despite only just butting heads with the gang, our little stunt was enough to get attention of its leadership, as shown in the ending cutscene.
Gentlemen, how was business today?
Here's today's take.
There are many singles where 50 should be.
Yeah, about that. I couldn't get a hold of some of my guys.
These men steal from the general?
No, I'm not saying they're stealing.
We got their stylish leader in the white suit, simply known as the General, his right-hand man, Mr. Sunshine, and finally one of their lieutenants, the popular DJ known as Veteran Child, who's voiced by good old Neil Patrick Harris. While the General and Mr. Sunshine are concerned at the lighter money delivery that day, Veteran Child assures them that he has a hold of the situation. Oh, I bet he wished it was just some of his dealers skimping off the top, because things are only going to get much worse. Checking up with Shandy at the beginning of the next mission, she's not very scientifically inclined, and is having some trouble trying to figure out what the Loa Dust is made of, but she knows someone who can help. The only catch is, she's still locked up in prison. But with the help of a bomb Shandy commissioned from Samson, we should be able to break in and bust her out.
Hey, Shandy, I rigged up that bomb you want.
You should probably hurry.
Assuming we don't get blown to bits on the way there. Racing to the prison, we need to get to an underground area and use the bomb to blow up a generator to kill the power to the prison. I forgot to bring this up during the prologue, but the missions in Saints Row 2 actually have checkpoints now. This really wasn't that much of an issue in the first game, as the majority of missions were rather short, so if you failed, it really didn't sting much to restart. That was until you got to the final missions for each gang, which were much longer than usual and insanely hard too. Since all the missions in this game are much longer overall, the checkpoints are very welcomed. Fighting through the prison as a riot breaks out, I eventually find my target, Laura. She was a minor character in the first game, a very sweet housewife who was attached to one of the drug dealing activities. As you see as we go along, the game really likes to bring in the characters from the side activities in the first game, which can throw you for a loop if you didn't do all the side content, as the game kind of just expects you to remember who they are. That guy from before, Samson, was attached to the Chop Shop side activity, and was mentioned in a few missions as well. Fighting back out of the prison with Laura in tow, we steal a chopper and head for the mainland, dropping her off at her home and meeting her husband, Tobias, who was another drug dealer in the first game.
Thanks for bringing my pumpkin muffin back. You need anything, you let me know.
Oh, I already talked to Laura about that.
In that case, you mind giving me and the wife some quality time? I'd like to have a belated conjugal before the PTA meeting.
Not at all.
Laura will drop by the hideout to let us know she's cracked the formula for Loa Dust, and has the recipe to give to Shandi. Now we just have to cripple the Sons of Samdi's production. Conveniently, Shandi mentions that her ex-boyfriend was a dealer for them, and he let slip that they grew their product on a farm off campus. Teaming up with Tobias, he'll fly us over the farm as we use a rifle to shoot up their operation and start a fire to burn down their weed farm. Cue that one cyberpunk song I used the last 2 times we went on a weed-destroying mission. With our actions doing way more damage to the Sons of Samdi this time around, the General and Mr. Sunshine confronts Veteran Child, wondering how someone found out about the farm, and they give him an ultimatum.
I don't know how they found out, but I got some ideas.
Enlighten me.
I used to date this bitch Shandi, and there's a chance, a small fucking chance, that I might have gotten stoned and told her about the farm.
Where is this Shandi?
Word is she rolls with the Saints now.
Let him go. Veteran Child, you will go kill this Shandi. If you fail to do this, Mr. Sunshine will burn you alive. Does this sound fair? Excellent. Let's be on our way.
Things aren't looking good for Doogie Howser. After completing the mission, we'll unlock a helicopter in the garage, and Tobias is a homie we can call up for support. Returning to the hideout to see how the drug-making business is going, Veteran Child somehow managed to sneak in without anyone noticing. What, does this place not have any security? After a brief scuffle with the boss, he manages to kidnap and run off with Shandi. Well shit, where could he have possibly gone?
If you want to see Shandi again, you better come to Cox.
Well, that's certainly an interesting name for a bar. The boss is quick to realize it's probably a trap, and calls up Pierce to try and find where Veteran Child may have run off with Shandi. After shooting up Cox, Pierce informs us that the Rastafarian DJ is supposed to be playing at a nightclub called On Track. Heading down there, we shoot our way through the waves of the Sons of Samdi before finding Veteran Child and engaging in a boss fight. He's still using Shandi as a human shield, so we can't carelessly unload into him or else we'll take her out too. Instead, you need to use flashbangs scattered across the room to toss at Veteran Child, briefly blinding him and separating him from Shandi, and then shooting him full of bullets. Then just rinse and repeat, while also fighting off more Sons of Samdi. Nothing too tough, though it's easy to accidentally blind yourself while doing it.
Shandi, you okay?
My ex-boyfriend's a dick.
Pretty much, yeah. I can't believe you got your ass kicked by that chump.
Did I mention that my ex-boyfriend's a dick?
You should go home and rest.
If by resting you mean smoking an ounce, then hell yeah.
Reuniting with Shandi at a frat party later on, one of her other ex-boyfriends fills us in that he saw the Sons of Samdi wheeling chemicals into a building. Time to go out and destroy some drug labs. A fairly simple mission, if one that feels a bit too long, as you have to drive around to destroy the labs along with killing their drug technicians. The following cutscene will show Mr. Sunshine marveling at our work. Possibly high, kinda hard to tell since he's kind of a cryptic dude. The General will soon join him, as he says that he can't afford any more losses. So it's time they hit back and go after the boss.
Where am I?
Well, shit, if it isn't the consequences of my actions. Despite the fact we're tripping balls and completely at their mercy, the General and Mr. Sunshine fumble the ball as we manage to save ourselves from getting killed and escape their limo. Unfortunately though, they already sent an army of their guys to our headquarters and have Shandi pinned down. Even worse, we're still high out of our minds, so we'll need to rush back to the HQ while everything has a weird trippy filter on it. Saving Shandi before she dies, and then getting some help from Pierce, We have to fight off a huge wave of Sons of Samedi in order to survive. And Christ, it feels like it takes forever, as you have to kill almost 60 guys before the mission finally ends. Can't blame the boss for finally conking out afterwards.
How you feeling? Comfortable. And very hungry. You need help standing up? No. I'm good here. You sure? Oh, yeah. You know, there could be some more guys looking for you. You could take them, right? Probably not. That's good. Fucking lightweights.
During the next mission, Pierce is feeling fed up that he doesn't get to contribute enough to everything we're doing. While he's technically the one in charge of digging up info and dealing with the Ronin, when we get to that storyline, you'll see he's kinda right, as Johnny ends up hijacking it for the most part.
Do you know how the Sons of Samedi are still moving product after we torched their farm and drug labs?
No.
Then shut the fuck up.
Why you gotta be like that?
I'm just saying, don't bitch unless you got a solution.
Guys.
My solution is to do more than wait around for one of the 600 guys Shonda used to fuck to give us a call.
There's a bunch of helicopters dropping cargo over Samedi territory.
How the hell you know that? Gotta be fucking kidding me.
I'm starting to think Shandy slept with just about everyone in the city at this point. The goal is to shoot the Sons of Samedi's copter out of the sky while Pierce acts as our chauffeur, and blesses us with his amazing singing skills.
No, that makes no sense. When I'm out the door, ain't the only thing I hear your voice anymore. That's what I'm talking about.
And I thought I was tone deaf, jeez. After successfully disrupting their operation yet again, the General is unfortunately forced to punish his best man, Mr. Sunshine, by cutting off his ear. While it barely phases the guy, he accepts his failure and vows to find a way to stop us. What's his big brain plan to put an end to us and take the drugs we've stolen? By weaponizing the local crackhead population, of course.
I hate this standing around shit. Why can't something exciting happen?
This exciting enough for you?
First, we'll need to protect the warehouse from waves of drug addicts, before Pierce and Shandy start loading the product onto a truck. From there, we'll act as escort to protect the truck from more addicts, before getting it safely back to the HQ. Just before wrapping things up, we manage to get some info from one of the addicts who tried to rob us. He fills us in that we can find Mr. Sunshine at the meatpacking plant. At the beginning of the next mission, as the boss preps to go hit that voodoo-using bastard, Shandy wants to tag along to assist. But since she kinda easily got taken hostage and used by Veteran Child, we don't have the biggest confidence in her abilities. So we leave her at home. Despite wanting to go at it alone, it's probably better that you recruit as many homies as you can to tag along, as you'll be fighting a shitload of the Sons of Samedi, going through several floors of them, and ending in a boss battle against Mr. Sunshine. Thanks to his voodoo doll, he's completely immune to damage until you can manage to shoot it out of his hand. Thankfully, he makes it easy for us, by stopping to lift it up into the air for some reason. Depending on your weapon and how fast you are, you could drop Mr. Sunshine in seconds once he's vulnerable, and prevent him from picking up the doll and extending the fight. Though even without the voodoo, he's still one tough son of a bitch, who refuses to go down.
This fight is far from over. You think that will stop me?
For fuck's sake, die!
All that's left now is to deal with the big man himself. Let's check in on Shandy and see if she's got any ideas.
You gonna stand there or you gonna work out?
I get enough cardio running from the cops.
Suit yourself.
Her plan is to track down the General's limo, which we'll do by hacking the Stillwater Police Department's traffic cameras. Despite how easy she makes it sound, we'll have to get creative to actually get into the police station and find their computer room. First, we'll hunt down the local video repair van, take out the driver, disguise ourselves as them, and then waltz into the station. Gee, why does this sound so familiar? Not too long after, the cops will see through us and we'll have to hold them off while Shondi downloads the information. Afterwards, stealing a chopper to make our getaway. Though the cops will sick an assault chopper on us, and this fucker has stupidly accurate missiles. Do yourself a favor and shoot him down before you board your own chopper. Another will still spawn afterwards, but if you're fast enough, you can make it back to the HQ before he gets you. This will bring an end to the Sons of Samedi storyline for now, until we clear out the remaining strongholds. So let's move on to Team Red, the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood of what exactly? The Brotherhood of Steel? The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? No, it's just the Brotherhood? Well, alright then. As I mentioned before, our jailbreak buddy Carlos will be the one working on digging up info on these guys. He's a little unsure of himself though, not feeling as competent as Shondi or Pierce when it comes to dealing with the gangs. Don't worry, little buddy, I believe in you. Anyone with the same first name as me is capable of greatness. Oh yeah, my actual name is Carlos, by the way. I don't think I ever really bring that up since I just go by my channel name, but now you know. Meeting up with our little buddy, the leader of the Brotherhood has asked to sit down and meet in person.
You, Marrow?
That's right.
Where's your crew then?
I don't need one.
You sure about that? I could kill you right now.
No, you couldn't.
What do you want?
Listen, I'm not stupid. I know who you are. There's no reason for us to tear each other apart.
If that deep voice sounds familiar to any of you, that's because Marrow here is voiced by Michael Dorn. You know, Worf in Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm a pretty casual Trek fan, so I know close to nothing about The Next Generation, as the only series I have any familiarity with is Voyager. I'll give you 2 big reasons why. Unlike the other gangs, Marrow here is willing to work with us instead of against us, offering to divide up Stillwater. Before we can hash out the details though, we get ambushed by the cops, and have to team up with a tattooed mountain of muscle to survive. After fighting our way through the caverns and taking a speedboat to escape the cops, we'll regroup with Marrow's crew and run into our old buddy Donnie.
Aren't you worried about being in the open?
People know to stay away. How's my truck coming?
It'll be ready for the competition.
Thanks, Donnie.
You know that guy?
Later.
Quick little recap to those of you who skipped the video on Saints Row 1, but Donnie was a member of the West Side Rollers, the close friend and personal mechanic of the gang's leader, Dominic Toretto. Our now dead friend Lynn manipulated him as a way to get info on the gang, leaving the guy a heartbroken mess when he found out the truth, and leaving him the only member of the gang left at the end of the game. And on the topic of surviving gang members, since I don't know a good place to bring it up, you can find the sole survivor of Los Cardenales, Luz, in the game as well. In the first game, she was just a girlfriend of one of its leaders, Angelo Lopez, but after we killed him, she moved on to Manuel, the cartel contact who sold the gang their drugs. Here though, she's been dumped by Manuel, and now just works as a drug dealer for him. Back to the Brotherhood, Marrow will introduce us to his girlfriend Jessica, and his best friend and tattoo artist Matt. Despite his initial good intentions, his offer to the Saints is ass, offering an 80-20 cut of the big deal he's in on. The boss isn't one to take such a crappy deal, and after Marrow insults the gang as nothing but washed-up gangbangers, we end the meeting on bad terms. I get the feeling both sides are going to end up regretting not coming to more amicable terms. During the next mission, we start hitting back at the Brotherhood, and recruit the help of our buddy Donnie.
Lynn, I miss you.
That's sweet, Donnie. I missed you too.
Oh, shit.
You haven't seen me since your boss shot and stuffed me in the trunk of a car, and the best you can give me is oh shit?
You're supposed to be dead.
That'll work. Now walk to the car.
After threatening to send him to the afterlife to be with Lynn, we get him to cooperate in our scheme. We'll drive around town, having Donnie rig the trucks belonging to the Brotherhood with bombs while we protect them, and then blow the cars to smithereens. Unfortunately for poor Donnie, his boss isn't too happy to find out he helped us. Though luckily Matt and Jessica talk Marrow out of killing him, reminding him he should be going after the Saints. Meeting up with Carlos on the train, he's acting a bit awkward and is refusing to look at the boss. I wonder if the sling bikini she's wearing has anything to do with it. His weirdness is out of precaution in case we're being followed, but also because he's come up a bit short in regards to getting info on the Brotherhood. So it's time to improvise, which involves getting our hands on nuclear waste for some reason. First, we'll head to Friendly Fire to buy a Geiger counter, then hop on a boat and sail for the nuclear power plant. Once there, we'll sneak around and avoid the guards, using the Geiger counter to narrow down the location of some nuclear waste. The cancer juice in hand, we'll fight off the island's guards while waiting for Carlos to fly in to pick us up. Too bad the little guy isn't the best pilot.
Carlos, remind me to sit you down for a talk about planning a getaway.
Back on the mainland, we drive out to the tattoo parlor owned by the Brotherhood and sabotage the ink for Marrow's next tattoo.
I think you should stick to tattooing and drop the guitar.
Whatever. The feed dogs fucking rock.
Baby?
Unfortunately, we may have pushed things too far, as at the beginning of the next mission, we'll get a call from Jessica. She doesn't mind her boyfriend looking like Harvey Dent, but still wants to pay the favor back by doing something way worse to Carlos, who the Brotherhood have kidnapped. With no clues of his whereabouts, we pay Donnie a visit and beat the location of Carlos out of him. Racing to the docks, the bastards have my little buddy tied to the back of their truck and are dragging him throughout the streets. Don't worry, Carlos, I got you, buddy. Once I stop that truck, I'll get you to the hospital, and then to the best plastic surgeon in Stillwater. What? No! Not Carlos! He was my cool little buddy, and we both have the same name. How can I possibly go on without him?
You have reached Eye for an Eye, Voodoo Supply. The forces around us are keeping us busy and unable to answer the phone. After all, the land of the living and the realm of the dead are always connected. Should you experience a tragic loss, don't hesitate to call, and we'll see how the spirits receive you.
There we go. Glad to have you back good as new, Carlos. That truck did barely anything to your face at all. But in all seriousness, it's quite the gut punch to see him go out like that. Being mercy killed by the boss, no less. While this isn't the first time we lost one of our crew, when it happened to Ling, it was near the end of her storyline. With Carlos, we were barely getting things going before he ends up getting killed. In fact, outside the jailbreak, he doesn't get anywhere as much screen time as the other new members. Though, that may have been the point, as it adds a little more to the tragedy of the scene. Carlos cut down before he had a chance to really prove himself, and it's made worse as it's kind of the boss's fault, as their stubbornness and rejecting Mero's deal and then disfiguring him out of sheer pettiness led to Carlos dying. Don't get me wrong, the deal was a bad deal, but we got too personal by going after Mero directly, instead of just attacking his operations like we do with the other gangs, which made it fair grounds for him to do the same thing to us. I haven't really discussed it, but the boss can be an almost unlikable asshole at times in this game, often taking things too far with the other gangs, and sometimes acting overly hostile and like a dismissive jerk to other members of the Saints. I wouldn't call them completely unlikable, as they tend to rein things in more towards the end of the game, but throughout a good chunk of it, the Saints end up looking way worse than the other gangs. After we're done mourning Carlos, it's time for payback. Thanks to a tip from Shondi, who was almost run over while playing hacky sack, we find out Mero's girlfriend Jessica is at the bank depositing some cash for the gang. Racing down there, we take her hostage, first slowly walking her around the bank to disable its security, before tossing her into the back of her own car and driving her back to the university, giving her a front row seat to the monster truck rally her boyfriend's competing in.
I'm gonna kill you right here, right now.
No, you're not.
What's this?
Do me a favor. When you check the trunk, just remember you should have offered me something better than 20%.
Unfortunately, in our hastiness in murdering Jessica, we forgot to grill her for info on that shipment that Mero is waiting for. And considering Donnie already ratted twice, and might not even be alive anymore, we're left at a dead end for leads.
Hey, what about their
What about their tattoo artist? Good idea.
What just happened?
Shondi had a good idea.
Man, what the fuck ever? She stole my...
Don't be jealous, Pierce. We're all on the same team.
I knew I kept that stoner babe Shondi around for a reason. At her suggestion, and totally not Pierce's, we drive out to steal the pyrotechnics van from the Brotherhood. We'll drive around the city, tossing boxes of fireworks into the streets to fight off the Brotherhood who give chase, and then sneak into the arena to confront Mero's best buddy, Matt. Unfortunately, Matt really doesn't know much outside of the shipment coming in on some boat, but too bad for him, the boss is feeling extra petty today, and brings an end to both Matt's music and tattooing career.
Enjoy your retirement, Matt.
Later, while we're relaxing at the local strip club, Pierce shows up to tell us that we may have pushed Mero too far. Again, as he has the Brotherhood going on a rampage throughout Stillwater, and our controlled territories, ambushing our members and destroying storefronts. So we need to regain control by driving around and killing all the Brotherhood lieutenants causing a ruckus. Afterwards, we cut to a scene at the Ultor offices, with its CEO, Dane Vogel, getting an unexpected visitor, Mero. Mr. Worf wants Vogel to use his connections with the police to get all his Brotherhood buddies out of jail, making a rather convincing argument when he threatens to throw the CEO out the window. Vogel will call up our old buddy Troy, and force him to release the Brotherhood members he has locked up, much to his dismay. I won't go too deep into Vogel and Ultor's role in the story just yet, but I'll circle back to them later. At the beginning of the next mission, we see the news reporting on the release of the Brotherhood members, with Troy and Vogel making appearances and brushing off why those criminals are being released in the first place. Since all those guys back on the streets could be bad news for us, we're going to make those guys wish they stayed locked up instead. First, we'll ambush and destroy the prison buses moving the Brotherhood members, before taking to the seas and destroying the boats moving the rest of them. Like last time, Mero comes running to Vogel to get his assistance, but the crooked CEO has wised up and isn't interested in playing ball.
No. See, my problem is that a sideshow freak is messing up my paperwork. Your problem is that there's a group of security guards with assault rifles pointed at your back.
Your security guards look more like a private army.
Call them whatever you want. The point is, they have big guns. I'm sorry you couldn't protect your friends. I really am, but Old Tor's done doing you favors. Come back here again, and I'll have you shot on sight.
Go fuck yourself, Vogel.
To pour more salt into the festering wound on his face, Ultor has also taken control of that shipment Marrow has been waiting on, though he vows they won't hold that ship for long. Sounds like a great opportunity for the Saints. Let's see what the boss is up to.
Tell me you didn't pick this place just so you could play that stupid game.
No, I picked this place so we could play this stupid game. This gang shit's got you a little stressed out. You need to relax.
By playing skee ball.
Oh, yeah.
You know, most people just smoke pot.
Right. And then they go play skee ball.
Fuck it.
You really got to appreciate Shondi. She may not be the best in a fight, or the brightest for that matter, but at least she's trying to get our psycho-playable character to mellow out a little. Too bad their skee ball bonding moment doesn't last, as Shondi fills the boss in that Marrow has been trying to find info about the arrival time of a shipment. Figuring that this is the big shipment he's been boasting about all game, they jump on the opportunity to get it first. After you find a way to head out to the ship, either by air or by boat, you'll board the tanker and fight off all the Ultor security on board. Heading below deck, we finally discover what this big shipment is.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Admittedly, I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe a tank or a Metal Gear. But considering this boat is filled with enough weapons to overthrow a country, it's still pretty impressive. Unfortunately, Marrow wasn't lying about getting his shipment back, as he sends a massive amount of Brotherhood members to the ship. You now have to fend off 3 huge waves of these goons attacking you by air and sea, making good use of those weapons down below. Despite having infinite rifle and rocket launcher ammo, this was one of the tougher missions for me, mainly because I came in with no food to heal myself, so these guys would whittle my health down fast, and I'd have to run and hide till my health regenerated and I could get back into the fight. After surviving, I take my newly acquired weapons back to the HQ, and rally the troops for one last assault against the Brotherhood.
I'm glad y'all seem to like the new hardware the Brotherhood decided to hook us up with. You know, up until this point, we've been toying with Marrow. Kill his bitch here, steal his money there. But I'm through playing. We know where he lives, we have his guns, and I say it's time we take that motherfucker out. What you think?
Heading to their hideout, it's a full-on war between Team Red and Team Purple, as we slaughter our way through the warehouse in search of Marrow, finding that tattooed asshole waiting for us on the roof, and with a fucking minigun too. Cue a boss battle. It's nothing special, just run between cover and pump him full of holes when he needs to reload, rinse and repeat, though the fight isn't exactly over when his health drops. After Mr. Worf demonstrates his hands are rated E for everyone by beating our ass, we manage to turn the fight around, but he still escapes death thanks to Matt and Donnie. But it's only a matter of time till he gets his. That wraps up the Brotherhood story for now, so let's move on to the final gang, Team Gold, aka the Ronin. Pierce is in charge of digging up info on the Ronin, and similar to Dex from the first game, he likes to approach plans with his brains rather than brute force. He also has a serious chip on his shoulder, and is desperate to prove his worth and be a bigger driving force than the Saints. Come to think of it, where the hell is Dex? He's only been mentioned once since the beginning of the game. I'm sure he'll show up later, probably ready and willing to support the Saints like he did in the past. Back to Pierce, he's done some good work and found out that the Ronin own the Poseidon's Palace Casino, and have worked out an elaborate heist plan to rob the place. Unfortunately for him, Johnny Gat hijacks the plan and insists they just go in guns blazing. Heading to the casino with Johnny, we shoot through the Ronin guard in the place, blow up the vault, and then use a truck to escape with the cash. In the following cutscene, we're introduced to the leaders of the Ronin, Shogo Akuji and his lieutenant, Junichi.
このカジノの権利権は、Akujiさんはちょっと。
Junichi, you need to relax.
Akujiさんから隠すのは無理なのでは。
My father won't find out about the casino.
そんなに甘くはないです。
Don't question me, Junichi. And we're in America. Speak English.
Forgive me, Shogo.
If Daddy's voice sounds familiar, that's because he's voiced by Yuri Lowenthal, who has a huge voice acting career across a lot of media. Weebs might recognize him as Sasuke from Naruto, Yosuke from Persona 4, or Ben Tennyson from Ben 10 Alien Force. He's also the voice of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man in the recent Insomniac games. Despite Junichi's concerns, Shogo isn't all that bothered about what happened at the casino, or what his father will say when he finds out. Rich Boy might want to reconsider his approach. Otherwise, he might end up in an early grave. At the beginning of the following mission, everyone is just chilling at Aisha's place with the money, and watching the news covering the casino robbery. We get another appearance by Troy, who tries to downplay the Saints' involvement, even though the security footage shows the boss, Johnny, and some unknown accomplice shooting up the place.
Unknown accomplice my ass!
Also, it turns out some of the cash we stole may have belonged to Ultor. Whoops. Guess we're going to have to launder the cash so no one can trace it back to us. We'll go and buy an expensive car, then an expensive gun, then protect the fence we find so she can resell the products we bought. Simple mission, though one that feels like a missed opportunity, as I think this could have been a great way to introduce store ownership. When you take control of a hood in the game, usually after completing a gang mission, that new territory you own will give out a daily payout you can collect at your crib. You can buy into any businesses located in that hood, earning you a bigger daily income, along with discounts at the business you bought. It can be pricey to buy some of them, but it's really worth it in the long run, and gives you more of an incentive to reclaim any disputed hoods, as you won't get any cash till you reclaim them. Oh yeah, the hood defense missions are back. They haven't really changed since the last game. In fact, I think they actually happen less often now, as through my recent 15-hour or so playthrough, I only had to defend my territory like 4 times. During the ending cutscene for this mission, Shogo's father has found out about what happened at the casino, and is now heading to America to take control of things. Shogo, having disappointed his father and fearful of losing his position, finally takes the Saints seriously and orders us dead. Back at Aisha's, Johnny has caught himself a Ronin that was hanging around the neighborhood. Interrogating him, they find out Kazuo Akuji, Shogo's dad, is on his way to Stillwater, and if we're to take Johnny's word, the old man is a serious threat unlike his son. While Gat has to clean up the mess he made in his girlfriend's crib, we'll start prepping for Daddy Akuji's arrival. The Ronin are on their way to snuff us out, so we'll have to race around to take out these weebs before they get to Saints HQ. After we fight off their assault, we get a cutscene at Ultor HQ, this time between Shogo and Vogel. It seems Ultor has been using the Ronin as a type of protection in the city. Vogel is concerned about the threat the Saints represent, but Shogo assures him that his best guy is on it, as we see that Junichi has managed to work out where Johnny lives. As the opening of the next mission will show, Junichi is not one to be underestimated.
I don't take much pleasure in this.
Then let me go.
That depends on you.
You're gonna kill me, aren't you?
If you're calm, help us find the money, and do what I say. I give you my word you will live.
Ish, you home?
Johnny, it's a trap!
Ish!
Sorry if the cutscene is a bit longer than I usually play, but I think it does a much better job showing off the situation than me just narrating over it. Shit has once again hit the fan in the absolute worst way, as Junichi kills Aisha and guts Johnny. This is probably going to vary by player, but Aisha's death doesn't quite hit me like Carlos's does. I think the main issue is we pretty much never interact with her unless Johnny is with us, and she doesn't really have a huge role in the plot outside of being his girlfriend. The first game had the same issue with her, but at least you did one mission together before faking her death. That said, this whole ordeal does have you feeling bad for Johnny, not just because he lost Aisha and is currently bleeding out on the sidewalk, but because his recklessness brought the Ronin to his doorstep. Oh, and before anyone asks, calling eye for an eye voodoo supply won't bring back Aisha as a zombie. Probably because Junichi severed her head from her body. Or at least I'm pretty sure he did, by the way it's framed. After getting Johnny to the hospital, we'll call up Pierce and put him to work finding out when Daddy Yakuji is flying into town. He comes through not long after, having found the passenger manifest for the flight Kazuo will be arriving on. Rushing off to the airport, we'll sneak inside the back and engage the Ronin in a firefight, chasing after a few of them and then finishing them off. However, we didn't make it to Kazuo Okuji, as Junichi had spotted us earlier at the airport and warned his boss ahead of time and got him to safety. That bastard is going to be a serious thorn in our side, but thankfully, not for much longer. As the boss and Pierce sit down to drinks and discuss their next steps against the Ronin, we get a call from a mysterious stranger who tells us where we can find Junichi. It's that little bitch Shogo. Thanks to his incompetence, and his dad now being in town, he's effectively been demoted in the Ronin, with Junichi running the show while Kazuo's in town. Instead of working to prove himself to his old man, he'd rather remove the only competent guy in his organization. Heading to the Kanto Hotel, we'll confront Junichi in an awkward-ass boss fight. I get what they're going for here, but maybe we should have had a mission to practice the sword fighting mechanic first, as it's kinda awkward to learn on the fly. While the regular Ronin are easy enough to handle, Junichi can be a headache to deal with. He'll instantly counter your attacks, and instead you have to wait for him to attack to counter him instead. But his moves can be hard to read at first, so there's a good chance you'll react too fast or too late. It's not a tough fight, especially since you can heal, but it'll take you a while to learn his movements. In the following cutscene after we've killed Junichi, we see that Shogo's little scheme at being Daddy's number one didn't play out how he wanted.
Is everything okay, Father?
He's dead, Shogo. Junichi is dead. And all I'm left with is you.
Is that so bad?
It's worse than you could ever imagine.
Father,
Leave me in peace, Shogo.
I'll make you proud, Father. I'll finish what Junichi started. I'll kill Gat. I'll...
Do whatever you want, Shogo. Just do it away from me.
Time to visit Johnny in the hospital and tell him we got revenge for Aisha. Speaking to him, he'll be up and murdering in no time. Too bad the Ronins show up to end the job that Junichi had started. With Gat in no shape to fight, we'll have to shoot our way out alone, dragging his gurney with us and keeping him safe. Getting to the front door, the ambulance we were going to use to escape is destroyed, so we have to make our way up to the roof and steal a chopper instead. In the ending cutscene, we see Kazuo meeting with Bogle, the CEO of Ultor, less than happy about the incident at the hospital. He tries to get the old man to rein the Ronin in, but instead ends up insulting him, Kazuo refusing to be treated as Ultor's lapdog, and cutting the deal his son Shogo had made with the Megacorp. Since he's done working with the Ronin, Bogle decides to visit the Saints instead. This will be the first time since we saved Johnny in court that we'll finally get another mention of Dex, as apparently he works for Ultor now. Sure hope the game follows up on this information in a satisfying manner. Bogle is willing to work with us and offers the location of where the Yakuji and the Ronin are set up. While we don't know his angle in helping us, we take his info on the condition that Pierce can kill him if it turns out we're walking into a trap. Heading to the Ronin's hotel with Johnny, we kill everyone in our way while planting bombs on each floor as we ascend the hotel. hopping off the top floor and base jumping to safety after setting the bombs to blow. Despite a job well done, it seems we ended up missing Shogo and his daddy. The following mission starts on a somber note, as we attend Aisha's funeral.
Eternal rest, Brotherhood. May perpetual light shine on her. May her soul and the souls of all the faithful departed rest in peace.
You two have humiliated my family for the last time!
Leave, little boy.
Look at me when I'm talking to you!
Fuck off, Akuji. I'm not killing anyone at Isha's funeral. Tonight? Tomorrow? You name a time and I will gladly fuck you up. But not now.
How noble. Nobility is sorely overrated.
It's rare to see Johnny show any type of restraint. Aisha's death really does weigh heavily on him. Too bad Shogo didn't accept that small amount of mercy he offered him. We'll have to clear out the cemetery of the Ronin before chasing after Shogo and whittling away his health, dragging him back to the cemetery so Johnny can pay him just desserts.
Where are you taking me? Let me go!
Get up. Get up. Get up.
Please, stop.
Not so fun when you're fighting someone who isn't tied to a chair, is it?
I didn't kill her!
You ordered it.
I'm sorry.
Well, that brings her back, doesn't it? You couldn't even let her have a burial, you fucking piece of shit.
No, please. No! Kill me! But don't do this! Just kill me, damn it! Don't do this! God.
With Ben 10 now 6 feet under, literally, all that's left is to take care of his old man. Back at Saints HQ, another face from Saints Row 1 reappears, as Mr. Wong drops in along with his translator. In the first game, he was the NPC attached to some of the Hitman missions. He congratulates us on killing Shogo, as apparently Wong has some bad blood with the Akuji family, with Shogo himself having killed his dog a few years back. This little reunion is cut short when we find out the Ronin had followed Mr. Wong back to the Saints HQ. Teaming up with them, we'll have to repel their attack, while also protecting the support pillars keeping the buildings above the HQ from collapsing. Kazuo Okuji himself will show up to assist his men, and even though we gun him down, he lives to fight another day and escapes. This wraps up the Ronin storyline for now, so like the other gangs, we can only unlock their missions once we've taken over their strongholds. I won't dwell on strongholds for long, as they've pretty much remained exactly the same as the first game. The only difference is there's less of them to take over, giving us more story missions for each of the gangs to compensate, which is something I wanted when I discussed the first game. Once the entire map is almost completely purple, it's time for us to bring an end to all our enemies. First up, it's time to finish off the General and the Sons of Samedi.
Holy shit! I found the limo!
Yo, Shaundi, where the hell are you?
What's up?
Get up, we gotta get moving.
What, you're actually taking me along?
I can't get a hold of Pierce.
Thanks, I guess.
You're welcome. Now get up. We gotta catch that limo.
Having found the General's location, we head to the shopping mall with Shaundi to ambush his limo and his convoy. After we've killed his protection and shot through his armored car, the General will run and flee down into the mall. While down below, you'll have to run around and try to track down his location, which can be frustrating due to the mall's enormous size, and because of the tons of Sons of Samedi just spawning out of thin air. Once you find him, he'll have hopped into a tricked out Humvee that you need to chase after and destroy. Because of the vehicle's speed, Combined with the overwhelming amount of his men still attacking you, it could be a nightmare to chase after him. It's better to just light him up as soon as he spawns, blowing up his car before he has a chance to get away.
Is he dead? You got a light? That's it, huh?
Seeing as we stole their drugs, cornered the Lower Dust Market, took their territory, and killed their leader, I'm pretty sure the Sons of Samedi are fucked.
So, how'd I do?
Well, he's dead and you're not, so I'd say pretty goddamn good.
So you think I could take Gat?
Not on your fucking life.
What about Pierce?
Probably not.
Veteran child?
Seeing as he's dead, I'm pretty sure you'd kick his ass.
You're an asshole.
Feels a little anticlimactic, mainly because the general doesn't say a thing in this final mission. Was his voice actor not available that day or something? This unlocks Shandy as a homie, and all the Sons of Samdi's cars in your garage. Next up, it's time to bring an end to the Yakuza clan and the Ronin.
Wong, get out of here.
Wong, Akuji, leave us cripple. Be thankful for the merciful deaths you and your rabble are receiving. It's nothing compared to what I will do to the Saints when I'm through here.
You talk too much.
With Wong and Akuji about to end their beef with a good old-fashioned sword duel, we need to race to the Chinese Culture Festival and kill all the Ronin there. Then we'll need to chase after Akuji through some junk boats before Wong dies. Which is easier said than done, as these boats can feel like a maze, with several paths being blocked inside and forcing you to take the long way around to get to the next boat. All the while you're still fighting off the Ronin. Eventually catching up to Kazuo Akuji, we'll engage him in an honorable final duel after he kicks Wong's ass.
I hope you put up more of a fight than Shogo.
Like Junichi, he's annoying to fight and can only be hurt when you counter him when he's about to attack. So it'll be a long, drawn-out fight, assuming you aren't cheeky and manage to lure him down below, in order to trick him into some fire and burning him to death. Get it? Cheeky? Because my character's wearing assless chaps? Told you some of these cutscenes would get awkward. Don't worry, she's covered up for the rest of the game. Well, mostly anyhow. After beating the old man, we grant him a less than honorable death.
Did you really think you could match my skill?
No. I'm gonna cheat.
Finish it.
Put Wong on the phone. Hey, Wong, I want you to hear something. Come on, be a good sport. You hear that, Wong? You're welcome. Thanks.
When I escape, the world will not be big enough for you to hide in.
Luckily for me, you're gonna burn to death in a few minutes. Your son never should have fucked with my friends.
The Ronin now done for, we've unlocked all their cars, along with Shogo's Akira bike in our garage, and unlocking Johnny as a homie. Now all that's left is Mr. Worf and the Brotherhood. After we've taken over all their territory, we'll get a call from Marrow who wants to end things 1v1 at the Ultra Dome. Too bad he's a lying sack of shit.
I didn't think you'd show.
I'm surprised you have the balls to come alone.
I never said I'd be alone.
This is easily the toughest out of the gang finales, as the wide open area of the Ultra Dome, combined with all the trucks driving around, leave you wide open. It's easy to get ganged up on, or dragged underneath one of the trucks as you're running around, or accidentally blowing yourself up if a truck gets too close. Best you can do is constantly be moving, keep an eye on your surroundings, and slowly whittle away all the Brotherhood trucks till you can focus on Marrow.
Any last words?
Go to hell.
Sorry, didn't catch that.
With that, Carlos has been avenged. This will unlock Pierce as a homie, and the Brotherhood trucks in our garage. The Saints are now completely in control of Stillwater. Or so you would think, as now that all the gangs are defeated, we can take down the ones pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Ultra Corp. You know, this feels like a missed opportunity, as the game's UI ruins that you'll be facing them eventually right from the beginning, as you'll see their logos show up with everyone else's at the end of every mission. I think it would have been cooler to keep it a surprise and blindside the player right at the end, but oh well.
This could be going better.
After surviving that ambush from Ultor's Masako team, RIP Nameless Bartender, we'll have to fight our way out of the bar. Once we do, we'll get a call from Pierce and Shandi, who are pinned down and fighting off more Masako goons. First, we'll rescue Pierce and steal an armored car, before chasing after the van that has Shandi and freeing her. Picking the pocket of one of the dead guys, we learn about some place called the Pyramid, and put Pierce and Shandi to work finding out what it is.
Is this the pyramid?
Yeah. Ultor's built a huge R&D facility underneath Mount Claflin.
Let me guess. They aren't developing a better bread box.
Honestly, they probably are. They're just, you know, developing guns and body armor, too.
Why is Ultor gunning for us?
It doesn't matter. Here's the plan. Pierce and Shandi, I want the two of you to hit the streets and take out as much Ultor property as you can. If Ultor wants to come after us, fine. But we're gonna make it fucking cost them. Gat, you and I are gonna hit the pyramid.
What, we don't get to blow shit up in public?
Fine. We can do some damage street side, but we gotta be quick. I don't want to give Ultor any more of a heads up than we have to.
Now that we know what and where the pyramid is, we'll first get our notoriety with Ultor and the police up to 4 stars, in order to distract them, before clearing our wanted level and heading beneath the university to enter the pyramid. While we're here with Gat, we'll need a key card to get through some areas, and then plant some bombs in key spots before fighting off their security. Arming the explosives, we'll need a race to escape the building before it all blows up. The following cutscene shows Vogel arguing with his board of directors, who don't take kindly to the Saints blowing up the pyramid. He manages to downplay what happened, but isn't thrilled at his position and power being challenged. The following mission has the boss receiving a mysterious package that alerts them to a yacht party Ultor is having. Who could have sent that, I wonder? We take the bait and head for the yacht, and Christ is it annoying right off the bat. As soon as you get on the jet ski you need to reach the boat, Ultor will be onto you, and send an attack helicopter to stop you. And for the life of me, I have no idea how you're expected to dodge its missiles, as it will blow you up almost instantly after it locks on. Instead, you should get off the jet ski after first getting on, and then waiting for the attack helicopter to come to you while on land. Then shoot it out of the air, get back on the jet ski, and race to the yacht before a second chopper can get you. Once you make it to the yacht, just kill everyone on board, and the last executive trying to escape by boat.
Mr. Vogel, will you be needing a car to take you to the party? Sir?
Oh, that's all right, Jamie. I think I'm gonna skip it this year. Oh, and Jamie?
Yes, sir?
Please move my things to my new office and set up a press conference.
You were promoted, Mr. Vogel?
I'm about to be.
Oh no, Vogel tricked us in order to solidify his power at Ultor. Who could have seen this coming? A little later, after clearing their stronghold and taking the mall as our territory, the boss and Johnny will drop in on Vogel's press conference to kick off the final mission. After botching the assassination attempt on him, we'll first have to chase after him and shoot through his armored car. Despite destroying his ride, he survives and runs into Ultor Tower to protect himself. Now the only way to get to him is by destroying the security stations on the tower and flying up to his floor. And holy shit, fuck this part of the mission, as it feels like complete luck if you manage to do it or not. While you're trying to destroy the security stations and fly up to Vogel, you're under attack by Ultor assault choppers, whose missiles are basically undodgeable and can drop you in 2 shots. You could do the jet ski trick of boarding the plane, spawning the attack helicopter, and shooting it down, but you only have 30 seconds before another one shows up, and the security stations themselves are dotted awkwardly on the tower, so it can be a pain in the ass trying to align the plane with them and destroying them with a rocket. You basically have to be as fast as possible and do everything perfectly, slowly circling the building and hoping the other chopper doesn't have a clear line of sight. After crashing your copter into the building, just kill the guards protecting Vogel and finish him off.
I tried telling the board that going after the Saints was a big mistake.
They should have listened to you.
Believe me, right now I am agreeing with you 100%. But you have to look at the positives. You're alive, they're dead, and you have the Saints' #1 fan running
We missed it? Told ya. Now pay up. Where the fuck were you guys?
Traffic.
What?
He's not joking. The roads have been blocked off.
You see Gat out there?
Oh, he's fine. He's still out there killing cops.
Figures.
What is it?
It's done. Time to pull out of there.
You sure? Get the fuck off of me! I mean, I'm not running out of ammo anytime soon.
I'm sure. See you back home.
Later.
Who you calling now?
I'll ride.
Welcome aboard.
So what do we do now?
This is our city. We do whatever the fuck we want to do.
With that, the Saints have eliminated their enemies, and the boss is taking complete control of Stillwater. This would be a fine and satisfying ending on its own, flying off into the sunset with our homies. But if you've gotten this far, you know we're not done yet. If you recall way back at the beginning, when we saved Johnny from his death sentence, the boss briefly mentioned wanting to pay Troy a visit. Well, now's the time to get it done. Arriving at the police station, we won't find Troy, but if we enter this door on the 3rd floor, we'll find something else instead. The secret mission Revelations, which technically you can do at any time after saving Johnny, but feels more appropriate completing now.
What's up, Dex?
I know you're a cop.
Fuck are you talking about?
Come on, man. Who you think you talking to? The tactics, the police station thing, your shitty haircut? You got cop written all over you.
So, what are you gonna do?
Nothing.
What?
I'm out, Troy. I got offered a job at Ultor. I'm dropping my flags and I'm going straight. I just want to make sure that we're not gonna have a problem.
How you doing, Julius?
I was doing better before I got arrested.
I wanted to talk to you about that.
I bet you do.
Listen, Julius, you've made some bad choices, but you're a good man. Let me help you out.
What do you want?
I want the Saints to be gone. Okay? Now, there's 2 ways that can happen.
You can arrest all of us.
Or you guys can quit while you're ahead. All right? This is my investigation. I can miss a few collars.
What are you saying?
Dex is out of the game, and you're in jail. If you can convince Johnny and your number 2 to drop their flags, the Saints will fall apart, and everyone goes home happy.
You don't think this will work, do you?
You think I like arresting my friends? Convince them to quit, and I won't have to.
There's no way that player's gonna stop.
Make them understand.
Let's say I can. How do I know I'm going free?
I've already talked to the mayor. Hughes is willing to give you guys pardons.
I'll see what I can do.
What the fuck was that?
It was the only way.
I said talk, not set off a goddamn bomb.
Relax, Troy. The Saints are finished. Don't try to find me.
Well, shit, that's a lot to unpack. Dex knew about Troy all along. Troy cut a deal with Julius to pardon him. And we have confirmation that Julius was the one responsible for blowing us up. However, it doesn't explain why Julius did what he did. But picking up Dex's number and calling him, he offers to tell us the truth. Heading to the newly rebuilt Saints Church, we're in for a surprise.
The fuck took you so long?
You ain't Dex.
Neither are you.
You look different, did you?
I didn't do shit to my hair.
You pulling a gun on me?
Well, I didn't have time to plant a bomb in a church, so this'll have to do.
You don't know what the hell you talking about.
Why don't you educate me?
I don't gotta explain shit to you.
This is where we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Why don't you just put the gun down? We both know you're not gonna use it.
Not yet.
Stop!
I never thought I'd see you beg, Julius.
I'm not begging. I'm trying to talk some sense into you.
I'm done listening to your bullshit.
Put it together. Dex wanted us in the same place.
Yeah, and why'd he want that?
Can we kill each other later?
We're not able to get the info we want out of Julius before we're attacked by Masako, so we have to team up with the old man and fight them off. After defending the church, we'll hop in his car and make a run for it, shooting down any Ultor cars and assault choppers that are after us. Arriving at the arena, we finish off what's left of Ultor that are still chasing us, and finally learn the truth from Julius.
Just like old times, player.
Yeah.
Jesus. I thought we were past this.
Not by a fucking long shot.
Don't you get it? The Saints didn't solve a goddamn thing. Drugs were still being pushed. Innocent people were still getting killed. All we did was turn into vice kings that wore purple.
Jesus Christ, you sound like a pussy.
I sound like someone who's not a sociopath.
You want to be the killer with a conscience? Fine. Drop your flags and write a book like King. But you never should have came after me.
You telling me, if I would have asked you to walk away, you would have said yes?
Fuck no, this is my city.
Jesus, you haven't learned a goddamn thing.
Wrong. I've learned that being in charge is better than being a bitch who keeps her mouth shut and does what she's told. Your time's over, old man.
What's happened to you?
I woke up.
You owe me, player. If it wasn't for me, you would have died on that street corner.
If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have been in a goddamn coma.
But I guess that makes us even.
Not really.
You know, at first I was ready to agree with Julius that we became everything we were supposed to stop, but then I remembered he blew us up when we were just a dumb mute. In the first game, there wasn't really anything that made the Saints out to be worse than they were. Sure, we were taking over illegal operations from our rivals, but remember that Julius was still the one in charge and giving those orders. He acts so high and mighty, like we fell hard from grace, but that asshole was the leader, not us. It was Julius's job to rein in and stop the Saints from becoming as bad as everyone else. His inability to do that, and him just cutting a deal and running away, just shows how he was a failure as a leader. While you can argue that Johnny probably wouldn't drop his flag, he didn't even give your character a chance and just chose to kill us instead. Everything that happened and everything we became is completely on him. So, I don't really feel bad that we put a bullet through our mentor's face. And with that, Saints Row 2 has come to an end. Now, there are 2 story DLCs that were released afterwards that I debated covering, but there's not much there. The first one, Ultor Exposed, has you team up with a Ultor scientist played by porn star Tara Patrick to expose everything the company has done to the media. Kinda weird, but whatever. Tara Patrick isn't really my cup of tea. I'm more of a Gianna Michaels kind of guy, but seems like a fun and harmless little DLC. The other one, Corporate Warfare, has you working with an Ultor executive named Eric Griffin, who needs your help to expose Dex and stop him from killing Eric. While it has some fun missions, mainly the one with the mime car, it ends on a cliffhanger with Dex escaping, which unfortunately isn't followed up in Saints Row the 3rd, and the plan was for Dex to get killed off in a spin-off game called Money Shot, but that ended up getting cancelled. So, while the DLC is fine, I wouldn't go out of your way to play it, unless it's on sale. Also, I should mention that it's completely unavailable to PC players. But wrapping up my thoughts, what did I think of Saints Row 2? Well, yeah, I can easily agree with a good chunk of the fanbase that it's the best in the series. I loved the first game, and this one went out of its way to fix every single issue it had. It gave your playable character more customization options and a voice. It removed stupid limitations like stores being closed at night. It removed the grind for reputation, and made the side activities a lot more fun and worthwhile to play through all of them. It found this perfect balance of seriousness and silliness, where you could mourn the death of a close friend in a serious way, before running around in assless chaps fighting ninjas. The only series that does that comes to mind and manages to pull it off is Yakuza. It created a satisfying epilogue, an ending that didn't feel awkwardly tacked on like the first game. It gave you more to do in Stillwater, new reasons to explore, and let you take in the updated city by flying around it. Honestly, my only complaints are that you never talk face to face with Troy. The best you got is unlocking him as a homie for completing the level 6 prison fight club, and that they went nowhere with Dex and his storyline. When it comes to games, and whether I personally consider them a masterpiece, I usually weigh how memorable it was, the gameplay and the story it offers, replayability, and most importantly, how much fun I had with it. I consider San Andreas a masterpiece, Chrono Trigger, which I hope to talk about one day, the original God of War trilogy, and now, definitely Saints Row 2. I can't believe I missed out on it back in the day. I guess my GTA bias was just too damn strong to let me think any series could hope to rival it. Honestly, I put Saints Row 2 right up there with the best of the GTA games. Hell, this game feels like what San Andreas could have been with better technology, and if Rockstar kept with what that game built, instead of going the more serious route with GTA 4. I still like GTA 4 though. I wonder though, was this game just impossible for Volition to top? Did all the games comparing it unfavorably to Grand Theft Auto just get to them? And they decided they wanted to be as different as possible, regardless of what the audience would want? Who's to say? That's a question better answered when I cover Saints Row the Third, as while I personally like that game, I can completely sympathize with the fanbase's reaction to its more wackier approach. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And that's the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Felt good to finally go back and finish up Saints Row 2. Might actually keep playing it for a bit to clean up the side content. I want to give a shout out and thanks to my artist on Twitter, JGDraw, for the updated end screen. I wanted to change it up and have it reflect my newer content. Take a look through it and see who you can spot in the background. And check out JG's Twitter page. I'll link it in the description down below. Haven't decided what video to do next. Thinking about doing something on the shorter side to get it out in a week. As with Tears of the Kingdom around the corner, that game is going to eat up all of my free time. I've started recording footage for GTA 5. It's still a few months away before release, but I'll keep you guys updated as I work on it. April was a bit of a slower month for the channel, but man, did things really ramp up towards the end, and now at the beginning of May. Really appreciate the boon in views for both Chinatown Wars and The Getaway. So thanks a lot for the support, guys. Thinking I'll cover Black Monday in the future. Probably do Saints Row 3 next month. And I'm thinking about games like Stranglehold and Jet Li's Rise to Honor. If you guys have any suggestions on what to cover, let me know in the comments down below. Again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and comment down below. If you agree Saints Row 2 is the best in the series, which is your favorite? You wish they'd do an updated remaster / remake of it? And if you're new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. Check out the suggested video here at the end, and the playlist for my other content. I'm FuzzySlippers, and I'll see you later. Peace.